So we're going to talk about the 8 pillars of joy from the film Mission Joy and the book of Joy, both by Douglas Abrams. Do you need a lift today? Well, here's a way to lift yourself up, and I'll explain more. Let's get started. I'm Katie B. I'm a joy activation coach, and today we're going to talk about the 8 pillars of joy from Mission Joy and the Book of Joy by Douglas Abrams. I'm so excited to be here with you and share this information, as today's been an interesting day so far for me, and I had something go not the way I was hoping yesterday. So I'm going to go through the 8 pillars, and I'm going to work things out myself the way that one might work things out if things didn't go their way, and maybe they're feeling a little disappointment, which happens to be one of my biggest triggers. Disappointment can be a big thing for me. And so let's go through it. If you're not familiar with the film Mission Joy and the book, it's amazing. The Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu are with Douglas Abrams, talking about their lives and talking about joy in a very real way. And if you don't know about Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama, Desmond Tutu was a spiritual leader in South Africa who experienced apartheid and spent a long time in jail. And the Dalai Lama is from Tibet, who was exiled to Tibet from China. And he also talks about what it was like to be persecuted and how both of them found ways to continue to have these elements while struggling through their life, which most of us don't struggle that kind of life. So this is really valuable information, and I hope you stay and watch all the way to the end. Thanks. Number 1, perspective. So how we look at things is very important. Is it an optimist? Is the glass half full or half empty? Are we being optimistic? Are we being pessimistic? Are we being realistic? Those are all really good questions. Perspective is related to how you choose to look. And there's a lot about choosing to be happy, right? Happiness is a choice. Well, this perspective activity is also a choice. So yesterday, I had a big conference and a speaking engagement online yesterday, and nobody could come. There was a tech problem, and nobody was able to come and participate. And I had built a program with participation. So on one hand, my perspective could be, poor me. Nobody came, nobody cares. And I could go down a rabbit hole of negativity and feel disappointment and say, nobody likes me. Nobody's interested in anything I'm doing, and I'm just going to stop and give up. But the other option is, hold on. I improvised yes and for 90 minutes. I'm pretty proud of myself for that. So I'm going to take a perspective of being proud of myself. And it was recorded. So ultimately, it was a webinar. And that webinar will be able to be shown out in public and shared and will be posted online, so that it didn't go out into the ether. There is still that presentation there. So I still get, number 1, I did it. How about that? It was a lot of preparation. I did it. So being proud of yourself is a perspective. I did it is a perspective. And continuing on, because that's what you do. You one step forward, keep going. That's perspective. Number 2, humility. Humility, right? Being humble. None of us are kings, maybe 1 or 2 of us. But in a world where being the most grandiose, giant thing is potentially the goal, it's not, right? Humility. I'm humbled by what happened yesterday. I'm humbled by technology. I'm here to help. I'm on earth to help. I'm not above anyone or anything. I'm part of it. In a unity consciousness mindset, we're all the same. We're all part of the one. So believing to be above a thing or a person or an experience or a something doesn't make sense. It makes sense that we are all one and we are together here sharing this experience, and we stay within that space. We take a deep breath, and boy, that takes a lot of pressure off to be humble, to just be part of the mix, to be ordinary. Number 3, humor, of course. As a member of the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor and the co-host of the Laughbox podcast, I'm happy to say humor helps. Humor is scientifically proven to be incredibly valuable. Humor has shown to be more effective than aspirin and has helped veterans with PTSD create new lives using humor. And it's not just about a comedian, and it's not just about laughing at a television show. It's about finding the humor in situations. So if I find the humor in yesterday, I find it's kind of funny and I'm sure frustrating in the moment, but there were all these people at the same time struggling with the technology, trying to get to my meeting, trying to get to my presentation. And if I think about all those faces and all that frustration and all that, they tried so hard. I can look today and find the humor in it. And we will laugh about it. Undoubtedly, that we will talk about it and we will laugh, because technology, right? It's unpredictable at times. We need it, we depend on it, and it shows us that sometimes we're not in charge of the technology. And that by itself is funny too. I mean, there's so much about our lives right now that we have attached to technology. And when that goes down, wow, what a disruption. So that's a small example, but going through your day and finding the humor, finding what's funny, with difficult situations, some of the best coping strategies can be trying to find the funny when you're ready. In tragedy, of course, it's very difficult to be in the moment when you're grieving and find the funny then. But sometimes it just pops up. And when it does, be in it, because it's good for you on a number of levels. Raising endorphins, raising vibrations, getting us out of poor me, and looking at a different perspective, which brings us back to number 1. Number 4, acceptance. Whew. So how hard is it to accept when something that you hoped would go your way doesn't? Whew. In the moment, there's a bit of denial. There's a bit of... So yesterday, in the moment, right, as I'm realizing at the very beginning of this presentation, no one's coming. They can't get there. There's a block of some kind. Well, in that moment, during the presentation, I had a choice. I could accept it as treating it in a different way, like a webinar, or I could resist and spend the entire 90 minutes looking for people, trying to get people in, and taking all that time to just bring people in, and not actually using that amazing time that's recorded and going out to the world for what it was meant to be used for. And so in the moment, within the first 5 minutes, when I realized what was happening, I accepted it. And I decided this is a webinar. The interactivity is not going to work very well. So this is a webinar. I'm going to take that 90 minutes and make something I haven't ever made before. I did it. And then, of course, I accepted that challenge. I took that challenge, and I can feel proud of myself that after the fact, I accomplished that challenge. It just didn't look the way I expected it. Number 5, forgiveness. Okay, so we all have our stuff, right? We all have people. We all have things that we might have resentments for and we might have difficulties for, right? I could feel a whole lot of feelings about what happened yesterday. I did my Ho'oponopono practice, which is all about forgiveness, and I just simply forgave. I mean, this wasn't something about any one person making a mistake. Maybe it was, but I'm not going to blame that person. When we blame, we bring our energy down and we end up ruminating and we end up in this other space. So forgiveness, letting go. Now, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. Forgiveness has been a challenge on some levels, but it's not about forgiving and necessarily forgetting. When we forgive ourselves too. And when we do Ho'oponopono, we are forgiving ourselves. So we are working on all of the levels of how the thing happened. It's not that I have to forgive myself because the domestic violence happened. I forgive myself to just move on, let go, move forward, because that is the best thing that I could do. Now, I spent years ruminating, years in therapy, years trying to work out how that happened. And in the end, the best thing that I did after all that work was forgive and move on. And then I get to go to the next step, feel like myself again, be myself again. Because that victim who was in that situation, that's not me. It's a part of me. It's always, we all have it. Don't you have it? Put a yes in the comments if you've had situations that have put you in a victim mentality, or that you've been a victim of something. Put a yes in the comments. All of us have had something, and forgiving is one of the ways to work past it and move forward. Number 6, gratitude. Well, I talk a lot about gratitude. So yesterday, I could have been angry, resentful, and had no gratitude for what happened. But instead, I felt huge amounts of gratitude for the opportunity, for the tech person who was there to help me, Maria Jesus, for everyone that tried to come, and that everyone emailed me and said, I tried, I couldn't get in. I'm so grateful that those people tried to come. I'm so grateful that I had that space to speak in, and that I'm so grateful that that community is going to share that information, that presentation out to the world. And grateful for George, who I didn't meet actually, but was there for the whole session, who I guess had been there the whole day. So I'm going to say, George, I'm grateful that you were there the whole day for all the sessions. And Maria Jesus, who was there, stuck around, helped me out, put a clown nose on with me, and we went through that presentation without fail. I feel gratitude every morning for just waking up. I do gratitude meditations every morning to get myself in the right mindset. Gratitude is huge, vibrationally huge. Raise that vibration. Find the gratitude in the small things. And it could turn around all of the difficulties in your life just by mindset. Number 7, compassion. Compassion for self and compassion for others and animals and the earth. Again, I could have had no compassion for Maria Jesus, who was there. I could have yelled at her. I could have done something. She had a cold. She'd been there all day long. I was the last session of the day. My compassion said, this woman, she's volunteering here for me. And again, gratitude. And she doesn't feel well, and yet she's present. She's there. She's doing everything she needs to be doing. She's a wonderful person. Compassion. And compassion for myself, knowing that, okay, I might feel a few feelings about how it went yesterday. And this morning I woke up feeling a few feelings, but I had to teach yoga this morning and get on with my day. And so I did. But in the background, some of these feelings are there. And today, like I said, I'm going through this process with you as I process, how do I choose to feel about that situation? Well, compassion. Compassion to myself, compassion for the folks that helped me, that created this process, that created the app, that had a mistake on it of some kind. All of it, compassion. Number 8, generosity. I think generosity comes from the film and, of course, life. Generosity is about generosity of heart, generosity of time, energy. When you raise your vibration, you have more energy to give others. When you're generous with gratitude, when you're generous with joy and sharing joyful moments with others, and that reciprocity, generosity is reciprocity. What you give comes back. What you share comes back. So let's all be generous in our hearts for the world, even if you're just doing a group meditation and you're sharing that meditation with the world. That's generous because your time is being shared so that everyone benefits. That's generosity. So today is a different day than it was yesterday. And it's a different day than it was the day before. And I am happy and grateful and compassionate to myself and sharing this all with you. I'm a joy activation coach. If you'd like more joy in your life, if things like this are happening and you're struggling to get to the next space, can I help you? Put a yes in the comments. My final thought, when you need a lift, focus on 1 or all 8 of these activities to help change your mindset, raise your vibration. And if you're really interested, check out Mission Joy, the film, or the Book of Joy by Douglas Abrams. It is beautiful. And I will say, to watch Desmond Tutu, who has now passed, and the Dalai Lama be together for the last time in their childish giggling, in their amazing vibrations, and how they share with each other from a Christian perspective and a Buddhist perspective is so incredibly valuable. I highly recommend that you watch the film Mission Joy or read the book of Joy. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.